During pretreatment, a chemical is added to remove phosphorus from the wastewater. This is important because too much phosphorus can cause dash in Hamilton Harbor, which has a negative impact on plants and wildlife. Excellent. Algae blooms is a brilliant choice. The solids that were removed from the wastewater are thickened and placed into an anaerobic digester. Anaerobic bacteria in the digesters break down biodegradable material and destroy pathogens. Anaerobic means sharp thinking. Without oxygen is the right choice. The process of dash is when monitoring is done in factories and industries before it is released into the sewer systems. This decreasing heavy metals that go into the wastewater treatment plants by 90%. You got it? Your choice pretreatment is right. In the near future, an extra level of treatment will be added to the plant called tertiary treatment. This extra treatment will help remove more dash and phosphorus from the wastewater. Solid response. Suspended solids is a valid choice. The large globe that you can see from the highway stores a byproduct of solids treatment called dash. This is purified into natural gas and used to generate electricity. Good job. Your answer methane works well here. During the summer months, chlorine is added and then removed from the wastewater to remove potentially harmful bacteria like dash. Nicely done. E. coli is a solid answer. What percentage of the total emissions in the water sector is attributed to wastewater according to the 2018-19 report? You chose about 50%, and it is correct. The adsorption, membrane, and ion exchange technology commonly applied in what stage of wastewater treatment? Nice selection. Tertiary or advanced treatment is the correct and valid answer. What percentage of organic matter is removed from the water by the end of the wastewater treatment process? Correct. 85% is the right answer. After all the clarifiers finish with cleaning the water, what is the last step in the treatment process? Exactly. UV light disinfection makes sense, and it is right choice. What is wastewater that has been cleaned and purified that goes back into a freshwater source called? Clear logic. Your choice effluent is sound and 100% true. Which component in the wastewater treatment process is primarily responsible for methane management? Smart move. Digester is an accurate answer. What is the impact of using a chickpea system on the carbon footprint of a wastewater treatment facility? Right choice. Reduces the carbon footprint by utilizing methane for electricity is the best answer. What role does the MABA technology play in reducing the carbon footprint in wastewater treatment? Right again. It controls nitrous oxide production effectively. Reducing overall emissions is a valid answer. In primary treatment of sewage water, after sedimentation, the solids that settle form dash. Perfect. Primary sludge is the correct choice. Secondary treatment has low treatment efficiency for the following parameters except dash. Nice work. You chose turbidity, and it is correct. What kind of microbes is present in a flux formed during secondary treatment of sewage? Correct response. Aerobic is the most accurate answer. What is the purpose of the secondary stage of treatment in wastewater treatment plants? Valid point. To create an environment for bacteria to grow is true. Which method is not used for disinfecting water in the wastewater treatment process? Bravo. Carbon filtration is the answer. Which of the following is not a method of disinfection used in wastewater treatment? On track. Carbon filtration is the correct answer. Why is it important to monitor the effluent quality of a wastewater treatment plant? Well done. To ensure compliance with environmental regulations is the right choice. Which of the following is not a characteristic of wastewater mentioned in the text? Well picked. Taste is the correct answer. When biosolids are taken away from the treatment plant, what can they be used for? Great job. Compost fertilizer is the accurate answer. Why is it important to disinfect water in the final stage of wastewater treatment? Strong choice. To remove harmful compounds and microorganisms is the right answer. What is the primary function of a primary clarifier in wastewater treatment? Good thinking. To remove large particles like sand and gravel is the right answer. What is the term used to describe the complete reuse of treated wastewater? Excellent choice. Full cycle water reuse is the right answer. Once solids have been digested, they are allowed to settle and are recycled. Smart pick. Secondary clarifier is the correct choice. What is the significance of wastewater treatment in supporting modern life? You're right. It supports sanitation and public health is the correct answer. What is the purpose of aeration basins in the wastewater treatment process? Great thinking. To degrade biological content is the right choice. What is the role of activated sludge in secondary treatment of wastewater? Well reasoned. To provide oxygen for microbial growth is the correct choice. What is the function of grit chambers in the wastewater treatment process? Great job. To remove sand and rock particles is the accurate answer. Why is it important to remove phosphorus from wastewater before discharge? Well reasoned. To prevent eutrophication of water bodies is the correct choice. What is the main function of a clarifier in a wastewater treatment plant? 1. Right choice. To settle out suspended solids is the best answer. Where is the effluent released in most cases after the treatment process? Good job. Your answer back into a stream or lake works well here. What is the final step of the treatment process before effluent release? Well done. Disinfection is the right choice. What is the average duration of the entire wastewater treatment process? Excellent choice. 24 to 36 hours is the right answer. What is the primary function of a settling tank in wastewater treatment? Correct. To remove large particles like sand and gravel is the right answer. What are the 3 types of treatments in a wastewater treatment plant? Valid point. Secondary treatment is true. What is the main purpose of a sludge digester in wastewater treatment? You got it? Your choice to break down organic matter in sludge is right. Name the company that responsible in wastewater treatment in Malaysia. Solid response. Indo Water Consortium is a valid choice. What is the first step in treating wastewater at the treatment plants? Excellent. Screening to remove solids is a brilliant choice. How long does the entire wastewater treatment process take, on average? You're right. 24 to 36 hours is the correct answer. How is the wastewater filtered and disinfected to make it ultra clean? Smart move. Exposing it to ultraviolet light is an accurate answer. How long does the entire wastewater treatment process typically take? Perfect. 24 to 30 hours is the correct choice. What is the main goal of treating wastewater to the highest standard? Smart pick. To protect public health and the environment is the correct choice. What is the purpose of wastewater treatment plants in modern cities? 4. Sharp thinking. To treat wastewater for safe discharge is the right choice. What is the primary purpose of a bar screen in wastewater treatment? Correct response. To remove large particles like sand and gravel is the most accurate answer. Wastewater requires dash before being released into the environment. Strong choice. Treatment is the right answer. What is the purpose of ozone disinfection in the treatment process? Exactly. To sterilize bacteria makes sense, and it is right choice. During secondary treatment, what is the purpose of aeration basins? On track. To degrade biological content is the correct answer. What is the second step of the wastewater treatment plant process? Good thinking. Primary treatment is the right answer.
What is the primary clarifier's function in the treatment process?
Well picked. To remove larger particles is the correct answer. What is the main component of wastewater that is measured by BOD? Bravo. Organic matter is the answer. How does ultraviolet disinfection work in the treatment process? Great thinking. It sterilizes bacteria is the right choice. What does BOD stand for in the context of wastewater treatment? Nice work. You chose biochemical oxygen demand, and it is correct. How does the wastewater get to the wastewater treatment plant? No. Clear logic. Your choice sewers is sound and 100% true. What are the main selection criteria of membrane technology? You chose the size and nature of the wastewater. And it is correct. What is the first step in the wastewater treatment process? Nicely done. Pretreatment is a solid answer. Primary treatment of sewage waste involves which processes? Nice selection. Filtration and sedimentation is the correct and valid answer. How many wastewater treatment plants are there in the US? Right again. 14,748 is a valid answer. Which of the following is a step of wastewater treatment? Well done. All of these is the right choice. What is the main reason wastewater is harmful to health? Nice work. You chose it contains pathogenic microorganisms and harmful compounds, and it is correct.
What is done with the solids from the treatment process?
Great job. They are thickened and digested is the accurate answer. What is the main purpose of secondary treatment systems? Correct response. To improve the quality of treated effluent is the most accurate answer. What is the main goal of the primary treatment process? On track. To remove solids larger than 10 micrometers is the correct answer.
The solid matter produced during sewage treatment is
Clear logic? Your choice, sludge, is sound and 100% true. Which of the following is the quality of wastewater? Good job. Your answer all of these works well here. Where does most of Auckland's wastewater come from? Nicely done. Toilets, showers, and washing machines is a solid answer. Where does all the city's wastewater eventually go? Excellent. Into a wastewater treatment plant is a brilliant choice. What is the primary function of a sewerage system? Well picked. To collect and transport wastewater is the correct answer. These are steps of wastewater treatment, except. Exactly. Saponification makes sense, and it is right choice. The treatment of wastewater is commonly known as. Great thinking. Sewage treatment is the right choice. Secondary treatment of wastewater includes. Excellent choice. Microorganisms is the right answer. Industrial wastewater may also require the dash. Right choice. Removal of harmful chemicals is the best answer. What is the main function of a disposal field? Valid point. To distribute effluent for absorption or evaporation is true. The right order of wastewater treatment is. Smart move. Coagulation, flocculation, sedimentation, filtration, disinfection is an accurate answer. Ion exchange is dash treatment process. Sharp thinking. Chemical is the right choice. Secondary sewage treatment is mainly a. Solid response. Biological process is a valid choice. What is the full form of WTP? You're right. Wastewater treatment plant is the correct answer. What do you mean by WEEP? Bravo. Wastewater treatment plant is the answer. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format. Smart pick. Contact Narayan Changda is the correct choice.